Hi there folks, welcome to Dunzy's Guitar World. In today's incredibly interesting and informative video, we'll be discussing a lean, mean rock and roll machine from the 1960s. That's right, this early 1960s Gibson Melody Maker. So in the video, I'll have a look at the history of the Gibson Melody Maker, certainly from when it was introduced to about 1970, when they stopped making them, and they've did reissues since then. But I will be looking at the original versions of these guitars. So that particular guitar there, which has a serial number of 76377, which according to the guitar dating website that I checked, means it was made in Kalamazoo, Michigan in either 1962, 63 or 64. So we'll check what it probably looked like when I left the factory in either 62, 63 or 64. And we'll look at the work that's been done to it. Now, most of the work was done before I got it, but we'll get into that a bit further on. Now, all of the music in this video, as I said, it's a lean, mean rock and roll machine. So I have tried to make all the music in this video lean and mean and rock and roll. There's nothing fancy in it at all, and a lot of it is based on songs, which I really like, from the United States of America. So let's go on with that. Let's have a brief musical interlude right now. So the very first Melody Maker was introduced in 1959. I guess it was like a cheaper, cut down version of the Gibson Les Paul Jr. It's certainly a thinner guitar, and it has a smaller pickup than the P90, which would have been in the Les Paul Jr. And the very first ones were just single cut guitars. Now I believe they went to double cut Melody Makers later on in 1959, maybe into 1960, and then they started doing two pickup models as well, a Melody Maker D for double pickup. So they make them 59, 60, into 61, they all become double cut Melody Makers. I don't believe they made any after that point, which was just single cuts. So they were definitely different from the Les Paul Juniors, and I guess at that point in time, they were more similar to the SGs, which has been introduced. And a couple of things that all four of my Melody Makers have in common is A, they are super light, and B, they play and sound great. So let's have a look at this Melody Maker and we'll see if we can work out what has been done to it, because it has been modified. It most definitely has been modified. So all of the Gibson Melody Makers around about this period were done in this sunburst colour. Some of them came with tremolo systems, some of them came with just wraparound bridges. So that's what this guitar would have looked like when I left the factory. So here's what it looks like in 2024. So yes, the finish has been taken off of this guitar. Now when I got it, it had varnish on it, but it was like home, I don't know, furniture sort of varnish, and it was just painted on. So what I did was I stripped that off and I put a very thin cherry stain on it, just to kind of brighten up a bit. So I think the posts for the tailpiece have been added here. I don't see anything there that would indicate that it's had a trem on it. So pick guard obviously had a cream humbucker there, more on that later. So the fretboard, if this is from the early 60s, is this Brazilian rosewood? I mean, it's certainly a nice bit of wood, as they say in the trade. So it has had new frets put on it just before I bought it, so they've been on it for about 4 years. But so comfy to play around the edges of the fretboard. I mean, they are very round, they're really sort of rounded over. It's just so comfortable playing. Not any massive divots, as we say, and the fretboard running with the cowboy chords. Now I think that's a replacement truss rod cover. A few dings, as you would expect from something this age, so plenty of lacquer cracking as well, including on top of the silkscreen logo. I mean, it looks old and historic. So here's the back of the guitar, as I say, it's just one piece. Now I don't know what those sort of 5 or 6 marks there are. A few bits that have been filled, plenty of scratches. I quite fancied getting this finished to like a brighter cherry colour, but I don't know, I think I may leave it. I had to give it a good clean. It was like it had been played in plenty of smoky bars. Now the neck joint there is chunky. It takes a bit of getting used to, but once you do, it's well worth it. So I have cleaned everything off, but if you look here just above the part where it's been resting on a guitar stand, that's the cover the whole guitar was. And I cleaned a bit off just so you could see the serial number. Now I don't know what these tuners say. So let's look under the pickguard. So that's the original Sunburst finish, that yellow colour there. And all the electrics have been replaced in this. And as I said, it looks like these posts have been, or certainly the 2 rear ones have been put in. And the pickup has no markings on it at all. So here's the neck profile of the 1st fret and at the 12th fret. And the width at the nut is 42.3mm. The width of the 12th fret is 51.74mm. The neck depth at the 1st fret, 22.20mm. The neck depth at the 12th fret is 22.72mm. And it's a slim body, 32.20mm. And the guitar weighs just over £6. This is super easy on the old back. Now the pickup isn't particularly powerful, it's 8.28. There's a bridge and tailpiece, so the tailpiece was made in Japan. Just thought I'd throw another brief musical interlude in there. So yes, there has been a lot of work done to this guitar. The pickup has been replaced, as we saw in that video there. There's no name on this. I think it's maybe like a Japanese replica pickup that's been put in it. It's not particularly powerful. I believe this would have had a wraparound tailpiece to begin with. I don't see any marks on it would suggest it's had a tremolo, but I cannot confirm that. But it's now got like a bridge and tailpiece like you'd see on a Les Paul, which makes it very comfy to play. Now the person I bought this from, they said the scratch plate was original, or the pickguard. Again, I can't confirm that. It does look quite old. It doesn't have the melody maker on there. They have just put the humbucker ring on top of the pickguard there. Now the person I bought it from, they had it refretted as well because the frets were very, very low, and that was included in the price. And it plays great. It just plays really, really nice, and it is so light. And the tuners have been changed as well. I can't work out at all what it says on these tuners. I mean, it could be my eyesight. I'm due to get my eyes tested again, so it could just be my eyesight, but I couldn't tell what these tuners are. So there you have it. A lean, mean rock and roll machine from either 1962, 63 or 64. I'm not as lean, I'm slightly later in the 60s, but it's a lovely guitar, sounds great, plays great. So for the final part of the video I decided to stand up again. I've got a bit of sore leg, so I've been finding it easier to stand up when I'm playing guitar, even in the house. No, I don't mean on stage. Even in the house I've been finding it easier to stand up. So the final part of the video is yet another interpretation of a song that I like. I'm just wailing away on the guitar, nothing fancy at all. But it's really just to show you the sounds of this fine guitar. As ever folks, it's a privilege and a pleasure bringing you content on Dunsies Guitar World. Cheers for now.